Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Way I See It. Remember, if you're watching these videos and you want to comment, please do that. I want to know the way you see it. In these videos, as I said in the intro to my channel, I'm trying to talk about cultural concepts or events and biblical concepts and give a biblical worldview perspective. And it is the way I see it. And I hope that you'll find some commonality to your own self as you watch these videos. And I just hope that it'll inspire you to open up the Word of God and go deeper as you're thinking about the things in your life. Today I'm going to be talking about when people might doubt whether or not they're really saved based on Matthew chapter 7. So before I get into that, please remember to subscribe to my channel. There's a link. I put an icon right here and it'll be right here above my hands. But in actuality, there's a link in the bottom right-hand corner, like all the way over there. If you're on your computer, if you're on a mobile or laptop or mobile or iPad, you'll have to scroll down and click subscribe and then click the notification bell so you'll get notified when I come out with new videos. Here we go. So before I get started, I want to reiterate that I have a place on Locals, which is another website and /app, social media outlet. So if you're on various social media and for some reason or other you think this might get censored or I can't post things I want to post here, I would love for you to come join me on Locals. As of right now, you might be like, well, if I come join you on Locals and it's just like 3 people in a room, why would I want to post that? At least if I post something on Facebook, if it gets, like either censored or a warning comes up, people still might see it, it might still be seen by 50 people or 40 people or whatever. But, if a place like Locals with all its different communities, you can go to any community while you're in there. I mean, there's a bunch of different communities. You can go into one that's bigger. The thing is on that app, because it's a pay-to-play app, you have to pay for any community that you're in. And the reason they do that is so that people won't go in there and troll. If people are paying to be in there, they're going to post, they're going to actually want to engage in a thoughtful way with other people there. So for mine, you have to pay, but I set it at the lowest possible, level, which is $2 per month. So you're welcome to come over there to Locals. You can also get on the community and join it without paying. You'll just see what I post, or if somebody else were to pay, they could post in there, but you can't comment or make your own posts unless you're a paid member. So anyway, if not my community, come and join one of the other ones. I'm also in Kira Davis's community, Davis Nation. I follow the Reuben Report community. I follow the Tulsi Gabbard community. I don't pay for those, so I just get to see their posts. I don't get to comment or post my own stuff. I pay for the Davis Nation one. That's the only one I pay for. Anyway, check it out. If not for me, just for yourself, just see what's over there. You might want to join somebody's community, and that way you can then post some really thoughtful or thought-provoking stuff that you might feel like gets shut down on other broader types of social media. So let's get started. I have a friend who's said before sometimes that she worries that she might not really be saved, and it's not because she doesn't really love Jesus, but it comes from this passage in Matthew chapter 7. So I'm going to read it, and I've posted about this before, I feel like on Instagram, and I may have said something about it before in a previous video. So over time my videos kind of come back around and hit on some of the same subjects, but maybe from a different angle, and so I may have kind of addressed this passage before. So in this particular one, and there's passages similar to this in some other places, but in this one, Matthew chapter 7, verse 21, he says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles?' Then I will tell them plainly, 'I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers.'" And of course, then I think when I posted this on Instagram, I said, obviously those things were not the will of the Lord, because he says, only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven will enter the kingdom of heaven. And then they'll name all these things, prophesying in your name and driving out demons and performing many miracles. And it's like, well, that wasn't the will of the Lord, apparently. The will of the Father in heaven. So, and he says in another place that the will of the Father is that you believe. So because of that, I kind of want to take a turn and take a look at 1 Corinthians chapter 1. And you may say, well, does this have to do with the will of the Lord? Kind of. The reason I think it goes together is someone made a point recently in a discussion I was having, sitting around with some folks at my church, and it struck me, and I thought, well, this kind of makes sense, that here in 1 Corinthians, he talks about how the cross, the message of the cross, is foolishness. So I'll just go ahead and read it. 1 Corinthians 1, verse 18. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, the intelligence of the intelligent I will frustrate. That is a quote of Isaiah 29:14. Where is the wise person? Where is the teacher of the law? Where is the philosopher of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? For since in the wisdom of God, the world through its wisdom did not know him, God was pleased through the foolishness of what was preached to save those who believe. And so, I'll just go on because this kind of ties into Matthew 7 right here. Jews demand signs and Greeks look for wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and foolishness to Gentiles. So you look at the people in Matthew, and it's kind of like they wanted something, or they felt that they performed a service over and above just the gospel. And that was not the right answer, right? That was not good enough. Not that doing those things is not good over and above the gospel, but they are not required for salvation. They are not the thing that God wants to use to save people. God uses the gospel to save people. So I guess, first of all, I want to just say, when you think about the gospel, or you think about when you stand before God, and I've said before, he's not going to say, why should I let you into heaven? But hypothetically, let's say, what if he did? What if he was to say, why should I let you into heaven? Your belief about the cross and Jesus' work on it to bring you into salvation is really all that matters. So when you think about your own salvation and the gospel, what do you think? Do you think that it's in any way foolish? Because it says to the ones who are perishing, it is foolishness, right? Those people that stand before him in Matthew 7, for some reason or other, they think that his salvific work on the cross is foolishness, but that the things they did, the miracles and the casting out demons and the prophesying, those were the things that they thought would be good enough. Maybe those go along with the wisdom of the world. So I guess my main way to sort of encourage you in your faith is to say, well, what do you believe about where your salvation lies? If your salvation lies not in anything you can do, now, do I believe you shouldn't try to live a holy life? Right? Peter wrote a lot about living a holy life, being called to holiness. So did Paul. So did Jesus. I mean, Jesus talked about that. So doing those things, right, is evidence of our salvation. And it shows that we're growing in godliness. It shows that we're truly following Christ because we want to live as he lived and do as he said. But the cross being the only, this man who hung naked on the cross being worshiped as paying the way for you to get to heaven. If that is power of God to you, then I think you're doing good. I think your name is in the Lamb's Book of Life. And the second thing, I'm trying to word this correctly. You may say, well, those people in Matthew 7, they may have believed that Jesus died on the cross for their sins, and they may have believed that he rose from the dead. So why is it that they're still not saved? I mean, is it just because they tried to do all these other things in the name of Jesus? And I have to say, it can't just be that they believed, right? We see that passage, I believe it's in James 2:19, where it talks about that even the demons believe and tremble. And so you say, well, even the demons believe, that they saw they witnessed the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus, and they believe, yet they're demons. They have no opportunity of salvation. So how does that fit together with 1 Corinthians 1:18 and Matthew 7:21-23? And I think you have to maybe look at the folks in Matthew chapter 7 and think, okay, maybe they fall into that category of people who believed Jesus died on the cross and rose again, but yet they still lived as if their actions were what was saving them. And because of that, the cross, being the only means of their salvation, was foolishness to them in the actual practice of how they lived. Anyway, think about that. If you have some wisdom to share with me, please do so. You can do it in the comments. If you see this posted on another social media site, you can obviously comment on one of those sites like Facebook or, well, Instagram, although I won't post the whole video. They'll just be a part of this video on Instagram. Or if you see it on Twitter, I mean, any of the places I share it, just feel free to comment and let me know what you think kind of about how these different passages go together, what it means to really believe, and not just believe like the demons believe, but to actually believe. But yet we want to do good works, right? But those are not what saves us, and we don't want to be one of these people in Matthew chapter 7 that thought we were doing the will of God. And again, as I've said before, the folks in Matthew chapter 7, you don't see that they're repentant in that moment. They're confused, and Jesus tells them to depart, and they're evildoers. So we don't see that they actually loved him or submitted to him. It seems like they were performing for acceptance or something like that. Anyway, share your thoughts, and thank you so much for watching. That is the way I see it. Please like and subscribe. I have some other videos which I'll put links to here and here if you want to check those out and see more of the things I've talked about in the past. Thank you so much for watching.